The time was dolphin tweets and double vasectomy mummies. In the days of old there was a whooping cough, the likes of which the Southern Americans had never seen. The whooping that went on was like no other, and the redundancy continues. Colonel Robert Whitesonly was the pioneer of this maniacal thinking. He came up with the philosophy of white skin being the best sandblasted skin in the world. Enough. Anyway, the story all began with white men feeling sad and inadequate about their baby penises. What story doesn't begin with that? Hardly none. Colonel Whitesonly and General Supremacists came together for a plan that would make white people everywhere feel embarrassed that their fellow white-skinners were so dubious and down-left racist. The pea-brain mentality that whites are better or need to be preserved was one of blood-red periods, the kind that would make an overjealous family member sink into a sickening stupor of pancakes made by black people. Let us pray. A reading from the book of Polarized Political People, for your energy is being used for things you know little about. And the Lord of Dingbat said to his batty followers, go forth in peace through the desert of time. Hopefully you live in a moderate desert and not an extreme one. The Lord then broke into a lengthy explanation about dry heat, humid heat, and the heat index. Do not make the mistakes of many. Just because the temperature reads 110 doesn't mean it's that hot out. If you live in a place where it is 93 degrees and a high humidity level, it will feel much hotter. This is the magic of the heat index. This elusive index escapes the grasp of many. Make sure you secure your raindrop sandwiches, for they will come in handy when you need to give yourself a handy. The sweat marks left on the brows of the heat indexally challenged taught a major lesson to the Lord's followers. Be not afraid of high heat and low humidity, for it is usually slightly lower high heat and high humidity that will leave you with an ass that smells like a homeless man shoved into a gym locker. The Lord of Light Skin told his people, be not afraid of the monsters that lurk in the stickiness of a humid day, for those monsters hold the key to everlasting uncomfortableness and a retching heart in which Ronald Gayson himself makes you feel bad for paying taxes that are of the income variety and a very low percentage. Do this in memory of the Pizzaioli Shack in Staten Island, New York, the best place there ever was for a quick bite of highly acidic dairy products that was unrightfully stolen from the mother cow's tits before it ever got to the calf's tender mouth where it should have gone in the first place. Your penance for the week is 24 mozzarella sticks, a side of baked ziti, of fresh Italian ice, and a punch to your own bladder so you hopefully make pee-pee stains in your trousers to remind you of the hellish food decisions you made. Colonel Whitesonly made a name for himself in the American South. He would try his best to humiliate blacks by pointing out that he could get sunburned and they couldn't. Obviously, the colonel was not too bright, boasting about a trait that could possibly lead to skin cancer. What a baby-drinking milk bottle he was. Once General Supremacist came along and the retarded duo put a plan together that would make you want to trip over your own genitals to make you forget about it. The gene pool that these two possessed was more like a kiddie gene pool. If you were to dive into its shallow waters, you would be sure to paralyze yourself on stupidity, sex with siblings and cousins, borderline tard IQs, and most importantly, an understanding and wisdom of humanity that matched the dirt they stood on, inbred sub-70 IQ dim tits they were.